It is that time where we get to talk about stuff. It's a Friday, which means one thing. Well, two things, actually. John gets to fix his hair for about 5 seconds, and we start the show the only way that we know how on a Friday. So let's go.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Friday!
SDH AM for a Friday. We're going through everything here in the World Cup. We got plenty of World Cup dates. We got plenty of guests, plenty of stuff to get into. So here's what I know. At some point in the show, Bart Keeler is going to join from the SoccerForUSPod, I believe. Might be here in this first half hour, might be after 11 o'clock, I don't know. Because it is a Friday and Bart has a life. Also on the board, I know Nino Torres is going to be joining. I think Nino's going to be joining toward the caboose at about 11 o'clock after what happened yesterday, which we will get into. He wanted to discuss Ecuador, so we will allow that. Hour number one, we're going to go through what happened yesterday. We've got goals to get into. We've got storylines to get into. We have some interesting post-match comments to get into. The Hoff is set to rejoin us from Guadalajara about 9:30, which is 7:30 his time, which means that I believe he's either leaving or he's going to get ready to leave after the end of the group stage and head back this way. So we'll recap what he has seen so far from the hotel in Guadalajara or Guadalajara. Kacey White's going to join us toward the tail end of hour number one because she has a life. And she's been doing a lot of stuff with NBC and talking about their the World Cup coverage with them. A bunch of different platforms. She's been all over the place. We're going to try and catch up with her, ask about 2 questions, and then let her go have a life. 10:20, Nate Bukaty is going to be coming in. Nate has been spending a lot of time, and we will see if his wardrobe and anything else that is in his studio space has turned orange. He's been spending a lot of time with the Dutch. We'll see what happens when we talk to Nate about what's going on in Kansas City, where the P&L district is its standard round of upside down. 10:40, Jen Johns is going to join us to get a Decatur Watchfest update. It's been crazy. It's been loud. I wanted to get into the numbers. I want to find out. We know what's going on in downtown Atlanta, but I wanted to get into the numbers about how successful and what it's like for Decatur to host something like this. Story time I heard driving and crying from my front stoop and driveway the other night. So I wanted to get into all of the machinations and what it means to Decatur and what they've seen so far, feedback, that kind of stuff, and then we will catch up with them after the tournament is over. So since we're kind of here at the midpoint, it was one of those ideas. Let's catch up with them here and then catch up with them after the fact, kind of get a postmortem. So Jen Johns is going to join us at 10:40, and then some combination. I think Nico is going to be joining us about 11 o'clock, and we'll get into all of that. So it is review. It is preview. It is hopefully Bart Keeler. It is the Hoff from Guadalajara, Kacey White on a flyby, Nate Bukaty at 10:20, Jen Johns on Decatur Watchfest, and all of the different things that we got to get into today. Like I said, we got games to get into, got games to preview. We've got highlights. We've got interesting posts from Mauricio Pochettino that we got to play, and some interesting calls. We apparently have chaos going on in Uruguay with the Uruguay national team. We got to get into that. We'll go over the bracket. We'll go over the juice boxes. We'll go over projections. We'll go over what we know, thanks to our friends at the BBC, which has been the best version of itself in keeping everything updated. They were one of the first ones that had locked in outside of option 47 of 475 that the U.S. was going to be playing Bosnia and Herzegovina on July 1st out west. So we're going to go with the BBC. We'll go with their numbers. We'll go with their projections as of right now. As we speak, I believe was the 3-letter phrasing that they had. So that was kind of where we are with all the stuff. All right. And we got news from around the planet. Elliot Anderson is apparently signing a 5-year deal with Manchester City, going over from Nottingham Forest for $11 gazillion. We'll get into that. We got gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We'll go over the weekend, all the things. So we're going along this morning. We know this. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning for SDH AM Saturday. We're going to be efforting some guests. We'll go over what happens today. We'll preview what happens on the weekend, and it's a match day. It's match day last for the knockout, for the end of the group stage. So we'll go over everything there, preview that 9:05 tomorrow morning. Then we'll review everything 9:05 Sunday morning during the tournament, and we'll go from there. So that is where we are in our rundown for today. That's a lot of stuff, and we will get into that as we go. So, all right, let's not waste any time. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. According to our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, once again, opening kickoff, we start off with the most important stories in the game and give you the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala. Heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Okay, we have to start with the U.S. So with the United States and what happened yesterday, it was a back-and-forth game. You end up with a goal at the death by Turkey, and they get the Duke over the United States. There was the understandable, the anticipated is probably a better word, the anticipated gnashing of teeth, and we will find out what Bart Keeler has to say about it. Wow. See, now, like I said, I don't know what the rundown is. I know when folks are, but I don't know when they are to a certain extent. I gave Bart an option, and he's taking option A. So we're just going to go ahead and bring Bart in because I know that Bart wanted to talk about two countries in particular. He wanted to talk about the United States, and he wanted to talk about Canada. So, all right, sir, we have stuff to talk about with the United States. Let me do this. I've got some sound from Mauricio Pochettino from last night. I want to play it as kind of like our precursor. I'll play the goals later. We can get into that later. So here's Mauricio Pochettino after the match, courtesy of our friends at FIFA. And it was a question about momentum and did you lose any of it heading into the knockouts? Here's his answer.
If you explain what means momentum, yeah, that topic is a topic that I don't understand the momentum. Which is the momentum? To play with the same team and that we play again Australia and to take the risk to receive a yellow card and not to play tomorrow or the next game. To miss some player or to risk some player that maybe have some problems or circumstance. Or I don't understand the momentum. Germany lose the momentum too. I'm playing with the same team that I think only one change or one substitution from. I don't know. Too many topics in football, in soccer, that I don't understand. The objective was to finish first, and we are first. And now is the next stage, and it's going to be a final, and we are ready. We are much better than before that game because we had players now with 90 minutes in their legs and performing. I think ready to help if we need from the beginning or after from the bench. I think it's all positive, and I am so positive. And I am happy. Maybe I am not showing because your questions are a little bit weird, but I am so happy and the players are happy because I think we perform, we compete, and we are first. I was talking with the Turkish channel now, and I says, have a good trip back to Turkey, and we are going. But I think now when I arrive here, maybe I am confused, but maybe the mood is like, or the vibes is like, we go home tonight and Turkey stay, no?
We go home tonight and Turkey stay, no?
Well, I think he's not wrong in his reaction to the question about momentum, but I don't think it's a wrong question to ask. So I do think that those things can be true. But I don't think momentum was necessarily lost because, as he pointed out, the number one objective is to win the group. If you win the group, You get a pretty good knockout round draw, at least in the first 2 rounds. And you did that. You did that before tonight. Australia didn't win their game. And yeah, granted, they didn't need to lose, but no one's going, wow, Australia didn't win. Is that loss of momentum? But I think also you accomplished the goal of not getting someone suspended for the next game. So, that is good. I think also when you looked at this game, to give your 30,000 foot view as you love, look, we've learned in the past 13 months that Turkey's A team is better than the USA's B team. We've seen it happen twice. Okay. Fine.
Certain.
It's concerning that a lot of the players on the field last night, 9 changes from the 11 that started against Australia.
Right.
A lot of those players didn't rise to the occasion, if you will. But at the same time, there was a lot of good fight. We scored 2 early half goals. I think especially in the second half, if not for a Turkish goalkeeper, sacrificing his life to save a ball that he barely touched a fingertip off the post. It's probably a slightly different conversation. We had goals in the first half that were called back due to offside. So it's frustrating we lost. It's disappointing that you lost, but no harm, no foul. You move on to the round of 32. And I don't think that the performance and the fight shown by the team is a loss of momentum. So I think it all said and done. Okay, fine. You move on.
9 changes going in, and we were wondering on Atlanta Soccer last night, what it was going to look like. I figured there were going to be changes. I figured you wanted to protect your yellow card players, which meant that 4 of them were not going to be a part of the discussion anyway. You figured that you were going to get Matt Turner / Chris Brady some reps. I figured that was going to happen. And you figured that it was an opportunity for those individuals that were jumping into the lineup to sit there and prove their space. One individual at the back had a really rough night. And folks here in this footprint know of.
Did he play for this team?
There was some moments, and I figured you were going to protect Christian Pulisic. I figured you were going to get him out there to get the engine warm. I was thinking maybe 20 or 30, so I wasn't too far off. Oh my God, I got something right. Stop the planet. And so that's 5 players right there in that 11. That was going to be a part of this lineup going into match day 3. And to your point, Sebastian Berhalter, again, go to goal number 1. His service on the corner was borderline insane. I mean, literally, he dropped the parachute and it just gets right there. I was keeping an eye on the picket fence off to the side. There was the shot from the spider cam that was looking inside the 18. I was low right looking at the picket fence to see what's going to happen here. And what they ended up doing was blocking the space to make sure that Berhalter could drop that dime in there so Trusty could put it in the net. And Berhalter in second half with the smash to make it 2-2. So there were some folks that you could sit there and go, yeah, okay. There were some other folks that you sat there and went, yeah, okay, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I take issue with your example of Sebastian Berhalter because outside of his goal and assist, which were great, he had a rough night and kind of proved why we have concerns about him. He is, just to be frank, he needs to play quicker. That's just what it comes down to. Homeboy needs to play quicker. If he wants to play at the next level, things happen at a faster pace, right? But that could be said about every single player, especially a couple at the back who were thinking in quicksand and running in mud. It was not great from our center back pairing against a Turkey team that is pretty good. This did present a different challenge for the team than we had in the first 2 games. You had a Turkey team that wanted to play soccer versus an Australia team that was playing Aussie rules football and a Paraguay team that was out there to just try to kick people. So it was slightly different. And I think you saw some of the players not live up to the challenge. They are the backups for the reason. That's just where we're at. Like that's the reality. And so the problem is when you put, for the most part, a team full of backups out there, you're going to get a backup level performance. You can plug in guys who are a second string or a backup. I know Pochettino doesn't like those words, but you can plug those into maybe a substitute appearance or a starting 11 of mostly starters, and they're probably going to perform better. But, you know, especially in the defensive areas, we had a lot of guys who could not handle their own business and could not collectively handle business. And that was the problem tonight. Offensively, I thought you still looked pretty good. Again, you get 2 goals, probably could have found another goal or 2 if you find the right side of the post once or twice, hit the underside of the crossbar instead of right on square to it. So from that standpoint, okay. But, you know, you saw some weaknesses defensively. Overall, you were a little not great. You know, you can see 3 goals, not fantastic to watch your star player get nutmegged in the corner. But, you know, if I'm relying on Christian Pulisic to defend 1v1 in the corner, a defensive corner, that's probably not a winning strategy to begin with. So, you know, disappointing, but not anything that I think should affect the tournament going forward, because when you look at who played, you just say, okay, well, they're probably not playing in the round of 32.
You just want them to be ready if they are called upon, basically, is what you're staring at.
Yeah.
With the starting 11 that you have.
Yeah, and I thought Austin Trusty had a pretty decent game. He struggled a bit, but I'll give him a slight pass because he was playing basically left back. Who I will criticize is Mauricio Pochettino, because I thought that while I understand the formation change or the lineup rotation, I did not love the formation change, because for most of the tournament, we've been pushing Jedi and Dest really high, basically playing a 3-back system. Freeman as that right center back, so Dest can go high. Jedi as more of a wing back, but that got flipped with Trusty being the left back and Weah being the width provider on the left side. The problem there is on your right side, Joe Scally is supposed to be the get forward fullback, and that's not a Joe Scally thing for, you know, really. He is not as effective. And so I think that changing of that balance somehow messed some things up. I also just do not like Tim Weah on the left side. I know that there's this thing called ocular dominance that Mauricio Pochettino read on the back of a lemon package or something. I don't know, but it didn't make sense for him, because you could see him struggling to get to the end line to hit crosses over. And you could see him struggling to win those 1v1 battles that he normally wins on the right side. And I understand that in theory, you know, he should be okay there, but it just doesn't work, especially for this national team. And so, you know, there were a lot of changes that did actually affect the flow of how we had been playing that I don't think helped the team in any way. So I'll blame Pochettino for messing up the imbalance or the balance of the team, putting it out of balance. But at the end of the day, I understood why we rotated 9 guys. So it's like, you know, what are you getting mad at?
Yeah, and I think the last time we saw a 4-3-3 was Belgium, wasn't it? The first half. I think that was, because that was the lesson of you need to stay.
Yeah,
because you need to stay. That was the lesson, I think, that where you're like, yeah, we need to stay with a 3-back and have that.
Yeah. Yes, I think it was Belgium.
So
it was in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I know that.
I think it was the Belgium game, but yeah, where I think, and you started out with 4 and you learned the lesson. And so I think that I will give Pochettino the benefit of the doubt about kicking tires and putting folks in a game that really didn't matter a whole lot, trying to sit there and say, okay, what can we do here? What can we do here? Okay, fine. End of the day, no harm, no foul. We're still number 1 in the group.
I think what I would say, this is just me personally, and you've heard me talk about Max Arfson on this show. I'm not a huge fan, but I think had you put Arfson in at left back, that left wing back position, Brendo on the left side, who plays a little more centrally, put Weah on the right, and had Scally behind him, I think that would have mirrored more the way we play normally. Or you could have not had Scally, although I'm not mad at him, and had, you know, Trusty, McKenzie, Robinson across the back line as your 3 true center backs. But I think that there were you flipped where you had been playing, and I do think that affected things to a little bit. But again, to your point, you're making 9 changes. You're trying to get guys in there so they can say I played in a World Cup, I started a match in a World Cup, and B, really why you're doing that is because you don't want Tyler Adams or Chris Richards or Tim Ream or Jedi Robinson or Valerian Balogun or any of the we don't need any more minutes on those guys' legs. And that's fine.
All right. Before we get to the bottom of the hour, I know you had a Canada thought. So
oh my goodness, let's go.
I'm just gonna say, what's your Canada thought? I mean, it's like I kind of know where you're going, but go ahead and go for it.
Well, John, I've been going back and forth on Twitter with some Canadians. One, they are not having a fun time up there above. Here in the U.S. and Mexico, it seems like we're just having a blast enjoying this. In Canada, by evidence of their 2 stadiums, one in a erector set and one that's probably not going to be hosting a soccer team in a year, they had no intentions of making this fun World Cup for anybody. But I understand why they're upset that by finishing second in their group, they don't get to play in Canada. To which I say, win your damn group. They are blaming FIFA because they didn't get to play another round, a knockout round game in their group. The Mexico group also has to come out of the country and play. That's why we're playing in LA, because you're going from Vancouver and either Monterrey or Mexico City to LA. Triangulation, you're meeting somewhere in the middle. But really what it comes down to is you did not provide more than 2 host stadiums, which means scheduling knockout round matches is tough. We only have 3 stadiums in the U.S. that are repeating as knockout round matches, and those are all hosting like the first 3. So the problem is, if you're only taking teams from Group A or B, that's Canada's group, to put them in the knockout rounds, well, you're gonna have to play them earlier in the knockout rounds. Am I wrong, John? Like, if you're looking at the schedule, they're gonna have to play earlier on because of a little bit of schedule balance and competitive fairness. So, when are you gonna play Group A one or Group B winner at I guess you're gonna play in Vancouver, and then are you gonna force the Group B runner-up to travel to Toronto? Because that's another thing that FIFA is trying to do, is not have people cross a lot of time zones, right? And that's a long trip. I may not be Canadian, but I am American. I just went from Atlanta to Seattle. That was a long trip, John. I've gone from Atlanta to LA. It's a long trip. I don't think Vancouver to Toronto is a short trip. So I think they're mad because they said we're the host, we deserve it. And to that, I would just say, well, you're welcome. We allowed you to be a part of this bid. I hate to say it that way, but the reality is we could have done it without you. And it seems to be that we probably should have. Probably could have given I could have seen some other cities in Mexico hosting above Canada. I'm just saying. But look, again, you could have won your group and not had to worry about leaving the country. You could have beat Bosnia, who we're going to have obviously facing the round of 32. So say that understanding that, but you could have beat Bosnia, right? Could have beat Switzerland, tied Switzerland. Even if you would have tied them, I think you would have won on goal difference. But the reality is your country didn't put up enough host cities for you to be able to host 2 to 3 knockout round matches in a schedule that would have made sense, because you can't play on these grass turf or these grass fields every 2 days, right? You just can't. Like that, y'all would be complaining about that then. So if you're Canada, I get it, but just win your group. Or someone was like, well, I'm sorry we didn't build new stadiums. You have stadiums. There's this. I may not have been, I've never been to Canada, so I will put my hands up, say I've never been to Canada. But I can look at a map. Edmonton's the next dang province over. Y'all didn't use that stadium. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. The path was pretty easy to stay in your country, which was win your group.
So Bart, we're going to tag you out. We're going to bring the Hoff in to talk about that third country.
All right, Joe.
And
What's happening, fellas? Say it, Bart. I'm glad
Enjoy
you said it.
that. Yes.
Following you up right here. Somebody had to say.
yes. So Bart,
Someone has
Bart
to.
Keeler, SoccerForUSPod. Thanks for coming in and batting lead off, my friend. Enjoy your mug.
Bye,
And
y'all.
Bart is out
Yeah,
there.
brother.
All right. So Hoff, when are you checking out of the hotel?
What's happening, man? Yeah, I'm out of here. I think 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I don't even know what day of the week it is or what year we're in right now, but yeah, man, we're getting ready to wrap up what's been an adventurous 3 weeks. I got thrown into the sky just yesterday, so I'm glad I made it back to Earth. Feeling good.
Yes, that video is out there. They started doing that with live shots with reporters to kind of test their mettle, you know. And can you handle Can you handle getting tossed in the air while you're doing your live shot? That was like the larger question in all of this stuff.
That was the other thing too that Bart was saying is like, listen, man, more matches in Mexico, more reporters getting thrown in the air. It's different, man. It's incredible.
Tonight you've got Uruguay and Spain, yes?
Yes, sir. We sure do. That'll be the final match.
When you think about the time that you've been able to spend down there, and at the estadio that is supposed to look like a volcano. I finally get the backstory. That's why the grass is the way that it is. It's supposed to look like a volcano. What are we missing out on by not getting to experience what you did? Yeah, we see it on TV and everything, but what are we missing out on by not going in person if we ever had the chance to?
Man, what a good question. I think it's been amazing. First off, just seeing just the collection of humanity blending together. For me, it was the coolest match was Mexico versus Korea Republic. That ended up being the most viewed match, I think they said, in the 21st century or something like that, which is unbelievable. And I think leading up to it, whether it was at the hotel, whether it was in the outskirts of the city, you saw Korean fans wearing Mexico jerseys, Mexican fans chanting Korea and throwing them in the air before the match. Like, until the 90 minutes starts, there's been a really lovely, whoever's here and whoever's our visiting nation, we as, as Guadalajara and as Mexico as a whole, they have welcomed everybody with really open arms. And I think that's the biggest thing I would say I have FOMO from in Atlanta too, is seeing those crowds I got to know about Haiti, Morocco, man, that crowd pop, the fan fest last night too. Like, while Mexico has been so cool, my FOMO level, if there was a meter right here in this corner of the screen, it would be smashing the roof of this right here, because it just feels like everywhere we're finally getting a really nice dose of togetherness that I think is as a society, for how crazy the world is right now, man, it feels good to have some of that.
I think it's 275,000 folks that have been into Fan Fest here locally. And that doesn't even talk about Decatur. We're going to get that update later in the show. You've seen how bananas it is. And yeah, you talk to me, you talk to Jason, talk to Matt, you talk to Sophia. That crowd for the Haiti-Morocco match was one of the loudest levels we've heard in that building. You got chills. You couldn't move. It was like the sound was pressing against your head. That was when you got 68,000, I think 68,239 is the number that they gave. When you have all of that noise coming at you, there were obviously more Moroccan fans there than Haitian fans, but the Haitian fans, they were going to yell their anthem. The Moroccan fans were going to yell their anthem. They didn't care about atonality or whatever. And it was a hot crowd for a full 90 minutes. And that I think is one of the personifications of what this tournament is about. You get to see it up close and personal when El Tri comes wandering into your building there in Guadalajara. We get to see it when we get to have all of the matchups. We've 4 down, 4 to go here in Atlanta at Atlanta Stadium to see all of that power. And I mean that in the sense of fan support and energy and everything. It's one of the loudest times I've been in that building was for Morocco and Haiti.
That's what it sounds like everybody has said too. I think it's important to point out these are the unexpected nations, right? It's not the Spain match where you say, oh, here comes world number 2 or world number 1, and here comes Lamine Yamal scoring within 10 minutes, which did happen. I think it's the stuff that you don't. For me here, it was this last match we got to cover DR Congo, and we saw for the first time in this World Cup, Lumumba Veya, the man who's the human statue and stands still for 90 minutes. He got to travel. He did a quarantine, I think, in France, maybe it was, for a whole 3 weeks, just so he was allowed to travel for this. And we were getting ready for the match, and I saw this massive kind of Congo-colored, almost just like a podium being built on top of this chair. And I was looking around and asking, they're like, yeah, that's him, Lumumba. He's coming today. And as soon as the match started, we were busy and jumping around doing hits. And then I saw just a figure stand up, perfectly tailored suit, all custom with Les Leopards in the back, just a leopard logo. And it was, I had full chills just going into the stands. I went up to a random guy, John, and this is just the magic of football. Go up to him and I said, hey, man, would you be willing to talk to me about what Lumumba means to your people? And he's like, yeah, this is the most powerful symbol that we have. You know, he was our first ever prime minister of our nation, and they killed him. But he's here. He's living again. He lives forever with us. There's a great piece on Atlanta United Social. You guys can go check that out. And then afterwards, I go, thank you so much, my man. Are you going to be traveling more? He's like, hey, I'm heading to Atlanta for their next match. I'll be there on Saturday. It's like, these are the thousands of stories that are just tucked into the stands in any given match. And it's for me, the unexpected nations, right? Coming to Guadalajara, I'm like, I cannot wait to cover Mexico and seeing the Mexican wave and seeing the double save from El Tala right there on the end line, and Medellin the Duck and how famous that's been. That's really cool. But I think what I'll remember forever is Lumumba and that guy, Patrice. You know, just honoring him, and that symbolism is so powerful, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're going to chase that story when it gets here to break all of that down with DR Congo and Uzbekistan in a loser leave town match, literally at the 7:30 mark on Saturday night. I mean, that's going to be everybody sitting there and wondering. They were wondering with the non-household names what the crowds were going to be like. That has been asked and answered and exclamated that it doesn't matter who's playing, who's in the barn, what it means. It's going to be full and it's going to be loud. And I mean, it's been an absolute blast to kind of follow you along on social when you down there in Guadalajara and taking charge down there. It's been fun to see you just absolutely just rage down there and have a blast.
Thank you, brother. No, I've been doing it. There's a word down here that's called El Desmadre, which is basically, there's not a full translation for it, I think, but it's just the absolute insanity of a party. And I think that's what Mexican culture has shown to the world. You're seeing a lot of, people who have covered it, reporters saying, man, we need more matches down here. So if it was up to me, if we could have all of them in Atlanta and then a couple in Guadalajara too, and just divide it up right there. El Azteca is a really beautiful place too. So there's a lot more to see down here. I will be coming back for sure. And so blessed to be able to spend some time down here, but I'm ready for ATL, man. I miss the 404.
When are you catching your flight? You got to check out tomorrow, obviously, but when are you catching your flight back home?
Yeah, man. I think we split 12:45 or something like that. I'm about one of the worst and most laid back travelers in the world. My girlfriend wants to kill me every time we fly. She's like, we need to go now. I'm like, what are you talking about? We got a whole hour until it takes off. It's like, yeah, we should be at the gate. Like, I just take it as I go. So yeah, I'll probably get up with the other guys. We'll take the Uber over there and see if we can find our last little bout of street tacos. I'm looking down below, seeing if I can see any trucks we haven't hit yet. So we'll do what we can.
Man. Breakfast tacos, man. That is.
I have merch for you, by the way. I have merch.
You are epic and a half, and I cannot wait for Festivus. The birthday was 2 days ago, and the boss's birthday is tomorrow. So between my birthday and working whatever it was 2 days ago, it was the game at Mercedes-Benz, and then with the game tomorrow, we're having the celebration today. We're kind of cutting it in the middle, and we're doing our thing. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot thank the hotel for having the strength to have you broadcasting in one piece from Guadalajara. Have a great match tonight down there with Spain and Uruguay, and we will catch up with you on the flip side when you get back here into town. Just be safe getting home, and just go kick some ass. All right.
Will do, my man. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, there goes the Hoff and Joe Freihofer. He is in Guadalajara, and he is trying to catch his breath. And this one is a flyby, because literally it was like, oh, and then she is graciously for like 10 minutes or so, we're going to bring Kacey D in and find out what's going on. You are in the Northeast. You have been.
I am. Good morning.
Morning, and I cannot thank you enough for doing this on the hop.
Of course.
So what's it been like doing the media tour, talking about the this tournament that we're talking about here?
Anytime I get the chance to talk about soccer, I am a happy camper. So it's been great. It's been a bit crazy. There's been a lot going on. But the good part about it is the interest in the game. As we know, every World Cup, it increases. So domestically, that is such a huge step forward for us. So I love being a part of it and being able to talk about all these spectacular games.
All right. So how much of the U.S. match did you watch yesterday?
All of it. All of it. I can't talk about the U.S. game today if I don't watch it, right? So
I
watch it. It was a late one, though.
Yes, it was a late one. When Bart Keeler from the SoccerForUSPod was on to kind of kick off the show, I played the Mauricio Pochettino soundbite where he was kind of confused about the idea of some folks might have been saying that momentum was lost. He's like, but we won the group. And the idea of 9 changes, shielding your yellow card accumulators, giving Christian Pulisic a bit of a run. When you saw the lineup last night, any surprises, just whether philosophically or just in name?
I was more surprised about the amount of players and changes from the last game. I was not surprised that there were still wholesale changes due to the things that you mentioned, the yellow card accumulations, Pulisic, how many minutes was he going to play? What I liked about it is that culture can play a very big piece as you continue to go. Obviously, talent's important, tactics, technical execution, the mental side of things. But galvanizing the group together to have more players play, to feel a part of it, to feel that energy, they earned that right to be able to do that. And I think that he was really smart in the substitutions he put in. So Alex Freeman and Serginho Dest have been a really nice combination and pair down the right flank. He got them both in to keep that continuity going. That was the question for me, was how was he going to have the continuity piece? And he had some of those pieces in there. Sebastian Berhalter playing 90 minutes and having a spectacular performance. He's only been a sub, but now you have an even more confident Sebastian Berhalter that can come into a game.
Speaking of Berhalter, how difficult is it to drop a dime like that and just have it parachute to Austin Trusty at the edge of the 6 so he can get the slam dunk?
I've been watching it all year in Major League Soccer is the service that Sebastian Berhalter provides. It's unbelievable. Not only the trajectory, the accuracy, the pace, it's all there all the time. And so I'm not surprised. His first corner kick, I think to the average onlooker, that's like the casual viewer, would look like he maybe mishit it. That's a near post driven ball. That's technically hard to do as well. Then they earned the other corner kick they scored on. It was just spectacular from him. The first touch from Austin Trusty, oh, that is my favorite. When you see a first touch that's cushioned like he did. So it was a wonderful first goal to take the early lead.
Yep. And then obviously you've got 9 guys trying to figure how it's going to be from a continuity standpoint. You understand that there are going to be mismarkings and man markings and philosophically and all this kind of stuff. It was a rough night for Miles Robinson on a couple of different accounts. When you give up a goal at 90+8 in a game that doesn't mean anything in the wins and losses category, but in the sense of continuity, togetherness, whatever, what does that do when you give up a goal at 90+8, even though the match doesn't necessarily mean anything in wins and losses?
I really don't think you can spin that in much of a positive way. No manager is going to like that. It's just how much does the manager dwell on the fact that that was given up in a moment of concentration. I do think you hit on a really tough point, was 4 completely new defenders with another goalkeeper in. Like, it's a lot of moving pieces. And in the 2 goals that we gave up for sure before the 98th minute goal was not tracking players, combination play around players, and so much of the back line depends on unit defending and the entire back line having continuity. So Mauricio Pochettino has been around the block. He's been super successful. He probably knew some of those moments were going to happen. You just hope those don't turn into goals. But it's not the end of the world. And like I said earlier, they were able to get more players in and able to secure it. So they were able to take that risk.
Yep. And you look at them now, it's Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then you got to sit there. And the first thing that pops into my head with them is set pieces. Edin Dzeko, who is 128 years old, can still contribute.
Almost.
Yeah. I mean, he can still contribute, and he's going to be trouble in this matchup coming up When you are practicing, and this is probably you putting your coach's hat on here really quickly.
Perfect.
So you have a weapon on the opposition that is taller than the average bear. You know that he is going to be, or this particular individual is going to be the focus on set pieces and corners and such. If you can't match that, if you don't have somebody hanging around that's 6'4", that you're trying to figure out your set piece defense, how do you simulate something that you don't have on hand?
Well, first of all, I'd say just don't give up set pieces, but that seems a little bit too simple to say. You can manage that a little bit more with the corner kicks. There's going to be fouls. There's going to be long service. To your point, it is something that's going to have to be addressed. There's a couple you can look at. You can have literally a 1v1 matchup, your best defensive player who reads service the best, who can get into someone's head that can impede their run. You can commit to that player, but then what do you give up by doing that? What other players are you leaving available? So this is the real question as a manager, is how much do you let opposition scouting dictate the way you play in certain scenarios? And how much of it is, this is who we are in this scenario, and we don't think it'll become a problem because of X, Y, or Z. So that is the decision that Pochettino has to make, is how does he want to address that? I do think that it is a factor, and it's not even just him being a scoring threat on those. It's what does he knock down, and then tracking runners and making sure second and third chance clearances happen. So that'll be really important. One thing I've been happy with, though, is on the flip side, we're converting our set piece chances, which in a game where you're expected to dominate possession, where you're expected to have the majority of chances, that is something that can become really critical because it doesn't always come in the run of play. Look at England, Ghana. Like when teams sit in or when they defend, it can become extremely hard. And so that efficiency on set pieces and run of play goals is critical.
How difficult is it mentally to stay focused defensively when you have recycled pieces and it's round 2 and round 3? How hard is it to stay locked in that entire time?
It can be really hard. It is not by mistake when teams are good at defending second and third chance opportunities. That is trained, and you have to recycle your run to get tight to your defender again. You have to take a look and inventory of who's around you, what has changed. The angle of the ball is now going to change. So how do you position your body? All those pieces, one, have to be physically trained, but even more so mentally trained, because immediately when the ball goes out, you want to kind of take a breath and go, oh, we cleared it. This is great. Oh, there it is again. So you have to train that rebound mentality piece of how do we reorient ourselves to make sure we're stingy defensively.
Okay. Are you going to actually be watching matches this weekend? Are you actually going to take time away? Is it going to be casually on a device of your choosing off to the side? What are you doing?
A little bit of everything. Yesterday here was kind of my day to watch everything. I went to Germany, Ecuador, which was amazing. So that was a great game. And I've missed quite a few games here and there just because of doing a lot of media here in New York. But I'll be watching a lot over the next few days for sure.
So is there any truth to the rumor that Sebastian Becasese, or as we call him, Grandmaster Becasese, is cornering the market on conditioner and shampoo up in the Northeast?
I actually asked him to borrow some of it. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a character for sure. And that game was so fun. I'm assuming you got to watch it all.
I did. Oh yeah.
Oh.
And what it meant.
Ecuador, I had this feeling like, before a World Cup on paper, you're not sure how all these different games are going to play out. And I just had a feeling third group game, this could be a real nice battle. And Ecuador from the first minute, even though they gave up a goal, was pressing high. Germany couldn't play through the central corridor at all. And it just made for a fun game, especially for the neutral fan. I'm sure the Ecuadorian fans were just like, oh my gosh, they wanted the game to be over and be done and have the win. But for the neutral fan, it was fabulous.
And for someone like Germany, and you have a squad facing the same issue that they face with the United States. What do you do? Who do you start? How many minutes? Mm-hmm. And you get the same kind of thing where you get a goal at the death, And now, I don't think that you were asking questions of the German side about momentum and stuff like that. At least I didn't hear any in the post-match presser, but you get that here because everything is doom and gloom, and Pigpen is there, and the dark skies, and Droopy Dog, and all this kind of stuff. Stop talking to us. Go enjoy your time there in the Northeast. Are you back in circulation early next week? Where are you? Do you know?
I will be. I will be home, so I will be back in Tuesday circulation, I believe.
All right, go spend time with your friends and family and go watch matches. We'll see you soon.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right, there's Kacey D. So Kacey D is going to go have a life and stop talking to us. And so, yeah, I can't thank her enough for coming in and crashing on a Friday. So that is the early round of USMNT and a little bit of Ecuador. We'll get into the highlights here. We'll get you into the rest of the matches, and we'll lay out everything that is here. We got a hydration break coming up in about 8 minutes. Nate Bukaty coming up in about a half hour. So that's where we are. With the results that happened yesterday, obviously, Kacey D and I did not know that she was at the Ecuador match. But now that we know that she was at the Ecuador match, and our buddy Nino Torres is going to come in at 11 o'clock, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth into said match. Here was the game-winning call of the Gonzalo Plata goal. From Radio La Red, it is Alfonso Lasso. And so here is his call on the goal at the death, later than late. So once again, courtesy of our friends at Radio La Red, here is Alfonso Lasso on the game winner.
Aquí viene otra vez Pedro Vite, nuevamente Ecuador en el área de Alemania, y va a venir Pedro, ahí está Moisés, 5 tricolores en el área chica directamente de los alemanes, va a meter la pelota Pedro Vite, ¡gol! Ecuador, qué injusto que estaba haciendo el mundial, qué duro que estaba haciendo, no se lo merecían estos chicos, y llega entonces Gonzalo, 2-1, gana Ecuador, que quiere seguir, que quiere jugar, que quiere clasificar en el mundial.
Radio La Red, that's what it means. Kacey D was there. Sebastian Becasese climbed the ladder and got to embrace his family. And remember, we played the soundbite from Sebastian Becasese after match number 2. And I may go back and play it as a part of this. But that was that literally comes off the heels of the 3-minute soundbite with Becasese asking for folks to have faith, knowing what they had to do, dusting themselves off the mat, all of that. And you end up with the result that you got, goal in the 90s, and you end up with that result, Ecuador working their way in, but you don't know where yet. Elsewhere yesterday, getting into all of your juice boxes and what went down in the World Championship, as it is described by our friends at SofaScore. So I like Odds Portal, but you have too many pop-up windows. So yesterday, your results with juice boxes included. I don't want today. I want yesterday. So Paraguay and Australia figured they might have a kickabout. They did. It was a plus 140 on the draw, and they're probably both moving forward. Turkey, by the way, was a plus 245 to win in 90 minutes. Japan and Sweden, 1-1 draw. That was at a plus 240. Netherlands over Tunisia, 3-1. You figured after 2 goals in the first 7 minutes that Hervé Renard was going to have his incredible Hulk moment and just completely and totally rip his white dress shirt to shreds, but I think the rain kept that from happening. And Tunisia scored a goal. Netherlands had 3, though. 3-1 your final. The Netherlands a big favorite at a minus 588. Ivory Coast at a minus 556 eliminates Curacao. Curacao gets their first ever point in the tournament. Ecuador once again over Germany at the death at a plus 333. Germany a minus 132, but you didn't, I don't think there was the same kind of response from the German media. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen it pop up in social media where Julian Nagelsmann was questioned, but that's how it was. So that was what happened yesterday in the games in the that part of last day match day. So as it stands right now, Mexico in, as it stands, they'll play Scotland. We'll get into the threes coming up in a bit. South Africa is going to play Canada June 28th. That one's locked in. As it stands right now, Korea Republic is going to get Egypt. Czech Republic has been eliminated. Group B. Switzerland, by winning the group, beating Canada along the way at 7 points, they're going to play Algeria as it stands. Canada, once again, South Africa. Bosnia-Herzegovina is going to play the U.S. on July 2nd. Group C. As it stands, Brazil's going to play Japan on the 29th of June. Morocco gets the Netherlands on the 30th. Scotland will play Mexico as it stands. Like I said, we'll get into the threes here in a sec. Group D, U.S. Bosnia-Herzegovina. As it stands, Australia, who is ahead on goal difference, they're the 2. They will play Iran as it stands. Paraguay, as it stands, will play Germany. Group E. As it stands, Germany playing Paraguay. Ivory Coast gets Norway. Ecuador playing England. Once again, as it stands, Curacao eliminated. Group F. Netherlands play Morocco June 30. Japan gets Brazil June 29. As it stands, Sweden get France. 4 points, and they're right now the number 3. As it stands right now, Group G, they're getting into match day last. Egypt, as it stands, 4 points in Group G, a win and a draw. They're ahead of Iran and Belgium on points. Belgium is 3rd because of goals scored. They've only scored 1 goal in the 2 matches so far. A lot of expectations on Belgium. They have not been met. Iran has 2 goals scored. Goal difference is the same with Iran and Belgium. Iran, 2 points. Belgium, 2 points. Iran, 1 more goal scored. As it stands, Egypt gets South Korea Republic. Iran gets Australia. We'll get to, like I said, we'll get to the threes in a bit. Group H, Spain, Uruguay, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia. As it stands, Spain at 4 points. They would play Austria. Uruguay would play Argentina. Like I said, we'll get into the threes. Group I, France, Norway, Senegal, Iraq. France would play Sweden. Norway would play the Ivory Coast, and this is banking on juice boxes and the other matchups. And then you end up with, on Saturday, JK and L. We'll go ahead and lay those out. As it stands, Argentina gets Uruguay. We'll talk about the Uruguay problems in a sec. Austria would play Spain. Algeria plays Switzerland. Once again, this is dependent upon match day 3 tomorrow. Group K, Colombia, Portugal, DR Congo, Uzbekistan. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's the last day of Group K. DR Congo, Uzbekistan is at Atlanta Stadium, 7:30 kicks Saturday night. As it stands, Colombia would get Croatia. Portugal gets Ghana. Group L, England, Ghana, Croatia, Panama. England would get Ecuador. Ghana would get Portugal. Croatia gets Colombia. 4 points, 4 points, 3 points. Panama eliminated. Now, your third places as of right now. If the tournament started today, the knockout started today, here's the way it looks. Sweden, Ecuador, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Paraguay, they're all at 4 points. They're all in the barn. Goal difference, Sweden and Ecuador are at zeros. Sweden has scored far more goals. The 5-goal outburst at the beginning of the tournament against Tunisia helps them out greatly. Sweden would be your 1. Ecuador your 2. Bosnia-Herzegovina is the 3. They're locked in to play the United States. Paraguay is your 4. Croatia, match in hand, is at 3 points. South Korea, same goal difference. Korea Republic, same goal difference with Croatia. -1, but they're in the barn. Algeria -2 in goal difference. They are the 7. Scotland at -3 in goal difference is the 8 right now. Cabo Verde, if they get a result of any kind, win or draw, that should elevate them in because their goal difference right now is 0. They get a point, they would be elevated roughly to 5th place. That knocks Scotland down a peg. That means Scotland would be out. Belgium, if they get a result, they would get to 3 points. They're at, once again, 0 on goal difference. Once again, same situation. They could knock Scotland out entirely. DR Congo, if they get a win against Uzbekistan, they would go to 4 points, and you would assume that their goal difference would go to a 0. They would go as high as 3, all things being equal, if you take them on just an instantaneous case. Then you would have DR Congo come up. You could have as many as 3 teams, depending on results, get bumped out of the 8 that are currently the 8. You could have Cabo Verde, Belgium, and DR Congo in, some combination of that. You could have Korea Republic, Algeria, and or Scotland bumped out. So the 8 getting in right now, that's the flux. That's the flux. So keep an eye on that. And if Scotland does not make it into the knockouts, which I don't think they are unless everything collapses behind them, I don't think it will, Steve Clark might be looking for a new gig. So that's where we are right now, heading into match day last. Today, it is matchups at 3, 8, and 11. That's a late night, people. That is a late night. But it's 10. Well, wait a second. So 3, 20 is 8. Yeah, so it's 3, 8, and 11 tonight. Norway and France in Group I, they're in Foxborough. Senegal, Iraq are in Toronto. Those are your 3 o'clockers. Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia are in Houston, 8 o'clock. Uruguay and Spain are in Guadalajara, 8 o'clock, Group H. Group G, Lumen gets Egypt and Iran, 11 o'clock. That won't have any Middle Eastern overtones. New Zealand and Belgium in Vancouver. So that's where we are tonight, 3, 8, and 11. Foxborough, Toronto, Houston, Guadalajara, Seattle, Vancouver. That's where we are tonight. So that's your rundown. So tomorrow, we'll go ahead and do tomorrow since we're here. But reminder, we'll be back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning to break everything down. We're chasing some guests to come up in the half hour. Tomorrow, it is 5, 7:30, and 10. Croatia, Ghana, take the under. Croatia's favored at a -130. Ghana's almost a +500. Panama and England, 5 o'clock. Panama's a +1,600. They're done. England is a -556. We'll probably see the same thing that we saw with Germany and the United States, where England is concerned, and Tommy Tuchel. Draws a +700. 7:30s, Colombia, Portugal. Colombia's a +320. Portugal's a -115. Draws a +275. DR Congo and Uzbekistan. Here at Atlanta Stadium, DR Congo a -125 to win. Draws a +300. Uzbekistan is a +340. 10 o'clocks, Algeria and Austria. Algeria is a +300. Austria a +190. Draws a +120. Jordan, Argentina. Jordan is already eliminated at a +1,500. Argentina's won the group at a -526. Your draw is a +700. So that's what you're staring at with those on your Saturday. That's your Saturday. You look at the impacts there and where those are going to be if you want to hop on a flight someplace. Sunday's going to be Panama and England in the Meadowlands in Group L. Croatia, Ghana's in Philly. Colombia, Portugal's in Miami. DR Congo, Uzbekistan is here. Algeria, Austria is in Kansas City. That's going to be a great send-off for Lawrence of Algeria. And Jordan, Argentina are in Dallas. Then the round of 32 actually starts on Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Los Angeles with South Africa and Canada. We'll talk about that more as we get there. So that's your rundown of the end of match day 3s and what to anticipate. Like I said, Nate Bukaty coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll find out what's been going on at Kansas City P&L and if he's added any orange to his wardrobe. All right, it is that time. Morning, Abby. It is a hydration break. I feel like we need like some hold music or something. We need hydration music. And so in lieu of hydration music, hum amongst yourselves, and we will have our hydration break brought to us by our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores. 2 locations, Johns Creek and Cobb Parkway. Thanks for being great partners with us here at SDH here in 2026. And once again, if you're looking for, and their stores are huge, by the way. I was in the one in Cumberland a week ago for our SDH AM Saturday, and it's huge. Place is freaking huge. And so if you were looking for anything from Fernet to a Malbec, anything in between, local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores. Once again, 2 locations, Johns Creek and Cobb Parkway in Cumberland. Hydration break amongst yourselves for a second. Okay. Ropes wants to know about Koke and Atlanta United. I haven't heard that one, but we'll do some quick research on it. We do have in the transfers and rumors. No, actually, here let's do the transfers and rumors category. So the rumor mill. Let's go here. There have been rumors that have been attached to Atlanta United. Wow, the first time that we've had the chance to sit here and talk about this. Yes, rumor mill. Other leagues. Where's Major League Soccer? Come on. Search Major League Soccer. This is from our friends at Transfermarkt. And it is laying down who might be currently under consideration. Major League Soccer USA. That, yes, thank you. Now, cycle it through. Okay, so as of, wow, this is old. Detailed search. Okay. So what we have seen recently is Paulo Diaz from River. That's the one that has kind of popped up. Paulo Diaz from River, and that one came up a couple of days ago. So, and then there was another one. Then, like I said, this is strictly gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and we could get into that while we're talking about it. But Paulo Diaz was listed as heading to Atlanta United. Francisco Martí was the one who had set that news up. Sports Vermouth, Francisco Paez. So the Chilean defender Paulo Diaz terminated his contract with River to join the MLS team Atlanta United. Future commitment to the Five Stripes. Time at River lasted almost 7 years. 31-year-old Chilean defender, and this is from like I said, this is from Sports Vermouth. Literally, that's the name of the website in Argentina. 8 matches this year, little consideration from Gallardo and from Coudet. Diaz was not going to be considered for the team, decided to terminate his contract. Talk of the departure for several windows, won 7 titles with River, 200 matches in 7 seasons. And Junior Alonso is also rumored to be joining Atlanta United as well. So those are the 2 that I've seen, Paulo Diaz and Junior Alonso. So I have not seen anything involving Koke, but we will do that search. So Junior Alonso. And according to Cesar Luis Merlo from 2 days ago, from Atletico Mineiro, the defender who is at the World Cup, Atlanta United verbally, this is from Cesar Luis Merlo, verbally agreed to sign Junior Alonso, the defender from Atletico Mineiro. 33-year-old Paraguayan defender competing will not remain with the Minas Gerais club and will instead join MLS. Learned that only the remaining issue is the signing of the contract, which will be a 3-year deal. With his departure, Alonso's second spell at Atletico Mineiro comes to an end. First was between 20 and 22, sold to Krasnodar, and then he returned in 2024. So Junior Alonso from Cesar Luis Merlo coming from Atletico Mineiro. Only thing left apparently is to have the picture taken with him smiling and the pen hovering over the contract with an Atlanta United logo behind him. So it would be that coming from Cesar Luis Merlo with Junior Alonso, 33-year-old Paraguayan defender, and then the other transaction that we were staring at with Paulo Diaz coming from River. So we'll keep an eye on those two. So let's do the Koke search. Let's do the Koke search here. And so Koke, if we do Koke Atlanta United, if I could spell Atlanta United, boom. All right. So is there anything attached? Mateo Moreto. Okay. Central midfielder. So Mateo Moreto is saying Atletico Madrid's Koke is interested or is being pursued. Objetivo Atletico pushing hard to convince Koke to leave Atletico de Madrid to sign with the MLS club. Decision now rests with the player. Let's see. Decision, and so everything is circling back to Mateo Moreto. So according to Moreto, Koke's situation has been a bit strange because yesterday morning, and this is from 7:15 this morning. So the Koke situation has been a bit strange because yesterday morning I was told Atletico de Madrid were looking for 2 midfielders. I originally knew they were only looking for 1. Then I received this new information, and they explained that an MLS club is pushing very hard to convince Koke to leave. So that is from Mateo Moreto. So keep an eye on that. So Mateo Moreto is Mate Moreto on the Twitters. He works for Marsa, and he is traditionally paired up with Fabrizio Romano sometimes. So Mate Moreto on the Twitters. So if we go this way, so yeah. So if I go that, I think that's the correct number of R's. Mate Moreto. Did I get the right number of R's? Yes. Okay, so that is who we're hearing the Koke stuff from, is from Mateo Moreto overseas, who works at Marsa. So keep an eye on that. Katie Weavers, good to see you yesterday as well. And the Battling Weavers trying to win their gifts outside. Pictures posted to social. And it was kind of like the like a ring toss at the amusement park where you're trying to get it around the old milk bottle. Apparently it was that tough. I knew I had no chance. So I was not going to go out there. But yeah, everybody was there. Thanks to everybody who was hanging out with us. Chris Thomas Turtle started his show from 6 to 8. We had Atlanta Soccer Tonight after that. Then we watched the match. And then we all went home and collapsed, and we're back at it again this morning. So that's where we are. But no, it's good to see everybody when it comes to that. So keep an eye on Koke. Keep an eye on Atletico Mineiro and Junior Alonso, and keep an eye out for Paulo Diaz from River Plate. Those are the 3 that right now are apparently on the board for Atlanta United. So that is that part of gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Let's get into the other part of gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Nate Bukaty set to join us here in just a little bit. We'll talk USMNT with him, and we will talk about what's going on in Kansas City. And we'll find out how crazy it is there at the P&L district, because it is traditionally crazy in the P&L district, but just wanted to get his vibe on what's going on. So gossip, rumor, and innuendo. United interested in Gilberto Mora, along with Real Madrid, Chelsea, Manchester City, according to Team Talk. 17-year-old forward plays for Tijuana, made his first World Cup start this week in the 3-0 win over Czechia. United also continuing their pursuit of midfielders this summer. Sky Germany reporting that the Red Devils stepping up their interest in Dortmund's Felix Nemeka. Manchester City, Liverpool, Real Madrid also linked. Liverpool, firm interest in signing Lille and Morocco midfielder Ayoub Bouadi. This is from the 4-letter paper. Bouadi, 18, interest from Arsenal and Lille, expecting to receive a fee around €70 million. Newcastle have rejected another £75 million offer for Spurs' Sandro Tonali, according to the 4-letter paper. Shown interest in him, initial offer of 75, turned down, then asked him to reconsider. So basically it's like, well, here's 75. No. Well, here's 75. What do you think the answer is going to be the second time through? That's from the 4-letter paper. Neymar has pulled out of talks to join FC Cincinnati, according to The Athletic. Apparently frustration on the side of Neymar. Talks progressing slowly between the two parties. Cincinnati never made a formal offer, according to the 4-letter, who remains open to joining an MLS side. Fabrizio Romano says Real Madrid have informed Como they will exercise the €9 million return clause in the deal for Nico Paz. Looks set to move back to the Bernabeu. Paz could still move elsewhere with a €60 million fee set as the valuation for Los Blancos. Manchester City's reached an agreement with Elliot Anderson. £125 million, British record, of Isak moving from Newcastle to Liverpool. Close to that deal, but lower than the 125. Fixed fee of 116, no add-ons. AC Milan have rejected an approach from NYCFC for Christian Pulisic. Milan stating the player isn't available. Current contract runs through June of 27. Club option to extend by a year. Manchester City have made fresh contact over a £70 million move for Chelsea right back Malo Gusto. That's from Team Talk. Jose Mourinho wants to keep Endrick at Real Madrid for next season after he returned from his loan spell from Lyon. That's from Marca. Fabrizio Romano again. AC Milan have submitted an official offer to sign Gonzalo Ramos from PSG. Negotiations ongoing. 3 other clubs interested. Guillermo Vicario expected to leave Spurs this summer. Spurs quoting a £20 million valuation to any suitors for the 29-year-old keeper. Football Insider. Ekrem Konur. Roma interested in a deal to sign Randall Colomwani from PSG. Juve and Galatasaray also interested following the loan move at Spurs. Sporting facing a few hurdles in getting a deal for Joao Palhinha over the line. The Bayern Munich midfielder set to leave the club this summer, but their valuation of the transfer makes a return to Portugal unlikely, according to Ekrem Konur. Mundo Deportivo, Atletico de Madrid in advanced talks to sign PSG and South Korea forward Lee Kang-in. €35 million fee, believed to be enough to seal a move. Fabrizio Romano again. Leeds United have inquired about a move for Derby County keeper Jacob Boydell-Zetterstrom. Got his start last night, as a matter of fact, attracting interest from Wolves and Eintracht Frankfurt. And then the Athletic Crystal Palace are close to sealing a new contract for Daichi Kamada, who had a deal that expires this summer. And so that is your gossip, rumor, and innuendo on the day. And we'll track down some of our other friends as we go here and see if, in fact, there's any other news that we might have missed when it comes to some of the busiest folks in show business, like our buddy Ben Jacobs. Ben's last reports, he was at the match last night for USA and Turkey. He's got Bristol City in the lower divisions in England, confirming Sam Greenwood joining on a 4-year deal from Pogon Chesn. They accepted the offer from Bristol City, follows a rejected bid from Blackburn. Greenwood's package worth £2.5 million, including add-ons. 175 goals, by the way, scored at the World Cup, more than any other tournament. Expanded format, naturally, you got the main factor. Nottingham Forest, one of the leading contenders for Lucas Bergvall, as reported on TalkSport on Sunday. Chelsea and Villa have inquired in the past and kicked the tires. No approach from either of them as things stand. So we go from there to one other individual. We'll see what Tommy Scoops has to say and see if there's been anything that has been added. He was at the match last night in Southern California as well. Neymar walked away from negotiations. Albright and Birding went to Brazil in April to visit his father. Neymar ultimately felt decision makers weren't serious in the pursuit. I would think that if there's no formal offer on the table, that would make sense. So we'll see what it looks like. Mahalo Opoku close to joining Greek side Panatolikos from CF Montreal on a free. Montreal retains a sell-on percentage, gets a fresh start at a new club, broke out with LAFC, traded to Montreal a couple of years ago. So that is from Ilias Kolonis at Sport 24 in Greece. So that is the lone MLS piece of news that we have involving all of the dancing going around with all the friends and all the folks. So that is the gossip, rumor, and innuendo part of our day. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. It helps us out, helps them out, helps you out. Adds to your streaming services. You can catch a lot of the A and B divisions in South America that you don't necessarily have access to immediately. You also have the opportunity to sit there and you can watch all the BNs, and I mean all the BNs. You get Middle East and North Africa, you get AFCON, you get CAF, you get U17s, qualifiers, the whole thing. You get their European leagues. It is the Polish League, the French League, and the Turkish League. That is also on BNs. You also get Libertadores and Sudamericana at Fanatis, and also you get CDO and CDO Plus out of Chile, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru, links to Tigo Sports and CATV, which means you get Copa Argentina from Teisei, and their coverage of everything Argentina has been fantastic. So you got all of that going for you, and you can get all of that at Fanatis at fntz.co/. left hand, soccer down here. So Friday, 6 World Cup matches, Big FOX, Norway, France, Uruguay, Spain, New Zealand, and Belgium, 3, 8, and 11. FS1 has the other 3, Senegal, Iraq, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt and Iran. FS2 has the Canadian Premier League with Halifax Wanderers and Pacific FC at 6 o'clock. Telemundo's 3, Norway, France, Uruguay, Spain, New Zealand, and Belgium. Universo, Senegal, Iraq, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt and Iran. Fox ONE has all 6, and the Canadian Premier League matchup at 6 o'clock. NWSL Challenge Cup, Kansas City and Gotham is in Columbus, Ohio tonight. That is at 8 o'clock, and you can catch that on NWSL Plus. Tomorrow, World Cup is on a balance of Fox and FS1, 5, 7:30, and 10. It's on a balance of Telemundo and Universo, 5, 7:30, and 10. Fox ONE has all 6. MLS Next Pro matchups. Tomorrow night, Atlanta United 2 is taking on Crown Legacy. That one is at 7 o'clock. Timbers 2, Earthquakes 2, Atlanta United 2, and Crown Legacy. Chattanooga FC, Chicago Fire 2, Rapids 2, and Whitecaps 2 at 8. Ventura County and Real Monarchs at 10. That's at MLSNextPro.com. That is on One Football, and that is on the MLS YouTube channel. Women, two matches that are there. Northern Super League, Calgary and Halifax. That's at 7 o'clock on the Plus. That is on Saturday. Sunday, Big Fox has South Africa and Canada at 3 o'clock. FS2 has the Canadian Premier League at 7. Fox ONE has World Cup and Canadian Premier League. It's the big day for MLS Next Pro. 9 matches, 1 at 3, 3 at 6, 3 at 7, 1 at 8, and 1 at 10. Once again, MLS Next Pro. You catch that at One Football, MLSNextPro.com, and on the MLS YouTube channel. Telemundo and Peacock simulcasting South Africa and Canada. And that gets us to Monday, when you get your triple headers and the round of 32 is off and running in earnest. It'll be the round of 31 by the time we get to Monday. Once again, that list of what you can watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis. FNTZ.co/soccer down here. Now, one thing that we needed to get into, we had to get into, was Uruguay. And we've got to get into that because there's stuff going on. And apparently, it once again is going around Marcelo Bielsa and his training regimen. Ataque Futbolero, overnight. Their direct quote. Eyes on the mess inside the Uruguay squad with disagreements between Marcelo Bielsa and a group of players right before the crucial clash against Spain today, meaning yesterday, overnight. So it was 10 o'clock last night. Sergio Rocher, Manu Ugarte, Rodrigo Bentancur, and Fede Valverde asked to talk in private with the coach to tell him they don't like the training style and how they have to go out and play tomorrow, meaning today. Complained about the intensity in practices, injuries it caused to some teammates, and made a special request. Play Spain with a low block and on the counterattack. Bielsa asked to gather around all the players, took the floor for 48 minutes staring at the ground, threw in their faces that some tried to get him removed from his position after the Suarez-Nandez issue on 2 occasions. Plus, he said he built the career of Seba Caceres and Maxi Araujo, and that Spain, they have to play mirror. Closed the talk by saying that the touched-up players who are called up to the World Cup are the ones who are loyal to him. That is from El Espectador Deportes. 8:10 a.m., 92.5 FM, and on YouTube. So that's from El Espectador Deportes in Uruguay. Tension in the Uruguayan camp. They want to play in a low block, man. We're gassed. And everything is circling back to the Espectador report. Everything is circling back to the Espectador report. It is not being corroborated by a secondary source. But apparently the coach putting too much pressure on him, demanding a counterattacking style against Spain. They want to play with a low block and counter. ESPN Uruguay now is also saying the same thing. Let's see. So Infobay. What's an Infobay? $3.5 million. Okay. So 4 key figures. That's corroborated. Playing with a low block and break the counter. And Bielsa took the floor, 48 minutes. At the end of it, he goes, I hope to God we qualify, but this can't go on anymore. That was Ronald Araujo in the conversation about the Big Four having their conversation with Bielsa and wanting to try and play differently because they're out of gas. Now we go to somebody who ain't out of gas. He is doing the summer camp thing. He's at the P&L district. He is a man in charge. And we bring in a fellow author on a Friday, Nate Bukaty.
John, what's up, brother? Can you hear me all right? I hope I'm hooked up okay.
You are okay, sir. You are good to go.
Nice. How's it going?
Running around as busy as you, boss. You're. I was wondering how much orange you had in your wardrobe after all the time you've been spending with the Netherlands these days.
Their warm-up tops are like the coolest things I've ever seen, and I got one of those. You got to be a part of, not apart from, right? What are the coolest things, John, in this thing in Kansas City? I don't know how many tens of thousands of people. You've seen the footage probably online of the march that they did. From what I was told, the vast majority of the people in that march were from Kansas City. You know, the Dutch showed up. I mean, they were here in force, and they do what they do. We've seen that all over the country, but people in Kansas City just wanted to be a part of it. We got in the line. We marched with them for a while, and it was funny because I wanted to talk to a lot of Dutch people, but everybody was wearing Dutch gear. Everybody was dressed in orange. And one thing that I also noticed was funny. There were all kinds of people that were dressed like in Tennessee Volunteers gear and stuff like that, because it was just anything they had in their closet that was orange, like the only orange thing they had, everybody had it on yesterday. And I thought that was pretty neat the way Kansas City just really has embraced this whole thing. And that's what I'm trying to do myself.
4 teams in the area. And one of the coolest stories for us anyway has been how Lawrence, Kansas embraced Algeria and the Algerian national team. I think that is the personification of what makes this tournament and what makes this sport as cool as it can be sometimes when you have that kind of blending of cultures.
It brings people together. I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. I challenge anybody to come up with an entity of any sort, an idea, an object, an activity that brings the world together to celebrate in a positive way, like the game of soccer. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I'm here in Kansas City, John. This is not an international city. You know, a lot of the other cities, Atlanta's a global city at this point, especially with that airport, right?
Yeah.
And but Kansas City is in the middle of the country. You got to travel the whole continent before you can get to the borders from Kansas City. And people don't come here. Look, it's an immigrant city. There are immigrants from all over the world that live here in Kansas City. But in terms of visitors, I've been talking to people from Ecuador and Algeria and Tunisia and the Netherlands, and I've asked every single one of them, would you have ever considered coming to Kansas City if it wasn't for the World Cup? And then it's met with a laugh, like, no, of course not. And then they get here and they love it. And the people from Kansas City are meeting people from all over the world, and they're having great opportunities to engage with each other and kind of recognize a common humanity that they have and shatter a lot of preconceived notions going both ways. I mean, I've done interviews with people that came here from Algeria who are emotionally struck by the way they've been accepted, because that's not what they expected. And I love that. I love that people are like, wait a second. Everything I've been told about you isn't necessarily true, and vice versa. So, I mean, I just think it's been such a beautiful thing, and I'm trying to soak in every minute of it.
Yeah. Full disclosure, the boss and I are frequent shoppers at Raygun, and they have the line of T-shirts that they have produced with some of the squads that are based there in Kansas City and Lawrence. And I'm like, yep, getting that one, got that one, that one got shipped. There's a local outfit in Lawrence, Kansas that has produced T-shirts with like the Desert Fox, Le Fennec on the front, and he's kind of got this crazed look on his face. But no, I am all in on all this stuff and all the cool storytelling. And the boss is going to look at me, and she's going to sit there and look at that Algeria T-shirt, the outline of the state of Kansas, and the Algeria flag right there in the middle of it. And she gets it. She's not really a soccer person either, but she understands and loves the humanity that is part of the outreach in this tournament too. Yeah,
there's another company in Kansas City. The most Kansas City thing is that the most popular item of clothing in this town has been this big heart logo with a KC in the middle of it. and it actually is derived from the shoulder patch that the Kansas City Monarchs wore. The Kansas City Monarchs, for those that don't know, were the greatest Negro Leagues baseball team of all time. They were like the New York Yankees of Negro Leagues baseball. It's where Jackie Robinson and Satchel Paige played. And they wore this patch on their shoulders that had a heart with a red KC, a blue heart with a red KC and block letters in it. And it was, clothing company in town kind of reused it, or, put it on a t-shirt, and everybody loved it. And so now they have all kinds of different color combos. And what they've done for the World Cup is they've done these heart KC shirts. And inside the heart is the pattern of the flag of every team that's playing in Kansas City. And I do some work with them, so I got one. But I've got an Algeria one, I've got a Tunisia one, an Austria one, a Netherlands one. And when you wear it around town, the fans of those teams, the people that are coming here to visit, come up to you. Where do I get one of those shirts? Because it combines that. We joke that in Kansas City, it's the only town where people dress like a tourist of their own town. Nobody wears an I Heart New York shirt that's from New York, right?
Right.
But in Kansas City, there's this kind of civic pride. And I think it's this type of thing where, because Kansas City, they know that they're the smallest city in this equation of the World Cup by far. They're excited about it, and they want people to see that pride and authenticity. And they're like concerned genuinely, like, hey, we hope you like it here. We hope you're having a good time. And I don't think that's what a lot of people expected when they came here.
Have you had any asados in the backyard to Bukaty?
So I haven't had any Argentines over this time around. So far in my house during this World Cup, I mean, I am having the greatest time. Two Polish gentlemen from Warsaw who have a website called Foot Truck in Europe. They took this big van and turned the back of the van into a TV studio. And they drive all over Europe interviewing people about soccer. They drive to Barcelona and interview Robert Lewandowski in the back of the van. And they reached out to me and asked if they could come, because they decided to come to the United States and drive all over America and explore the soccer culture in America. But because they didn't have their van and they had to rent something, they decided, well, let's go American and let's just rent a big old pickup truck.
Wow.
And so they just go, and they asked if they could come to my house, and they did an interview with me in my driveway in the back. They set up little, chairs in the truck. They set up their cameras. I'm going to post some stuff about it, but my grandparents were from Poland, and they didn't know that. So we had a great time. I wore my Poland jersey. We did all that. By the way, they found me through ChatGPT. I was like, how did you guys know? And they said, well, they typed in something about, we want somebody that knows about soccer culture in Kansas City, and ChatGPT told me to come find me. So I'm having the time of my life. We had 4 Dutch public broadcasting 2 announcers, a producer and the camera guy, over to my house for a barbecue. And they interviewed me about barbecue in Kansas City and soccer culture and all that stuff. I'm trying to think what other, I've been on Talk Sport. No, I've been on BBC Singapore doing interviews, just things that you did. This morning I did a Talk Sport, podcast and out of London. And I'm on with you. I'm just having the time of my life, man. Like all these connections, like you said, that you didn't expect to have. It's been so much fun.
So where were you last night? Were you in the P&L district watching the match last night for the USMNT?
Yeah. So part of my job here in town for this World Cup is to host all those watch parties. And for those that don't know, the Power and Light District, the P&L, as you referenced, in my opinion, that was the birthplace of the American soccer watch party. I mean, that was the place that made the watch party a thing, going all the way back to 2010. And that was a huge reason that Kansas City earned the World Cup, was because those watch parties were being shown all over the world, and on Fox and everything else. And I've been a part of those going back to 2010. So it's a fun place to be. That meant I had to give up my tickets to the Netherlands game in Kansas City. That was a little bit of a bummer, but I got tickets to the quarterfinal in Kansas City. I'm going to that game, baby. So that placates me a little bit. But the Power and Light District has just been awesome. It's been full every single day. What we didn't anticipate, John, we knew USA games would be great. the Mexico games, there's a massive Mexican American population in Kansas City. Those watch parties have been absolutely insane. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually hosting those as well because I finally learned Spanish over the last 4 years, which has been that's a scary moment. The first time you try to get out on stage in front of 8,000 people and speak in a second language that you don't feel that confident in, but it's a good growth moment for me. But those parties have been insane. But what we didn't realize is that people were going to gather even on the days when we're not throwing official watch parties and watch the games. The place has been filling up for Brazil. I mean, when they played, I didn't know there were that many Brazilians in Kansas City. You know what I mean? They were there. England, whoever. It's just become the place that people go. And we still have the Fan Fest that holds 25,000 people as well. Now, that's not open every single day. So when they're not open, everybody's in the Power and Light District, and it's been pretty great.
Yeah, we've had for the Fan Fest like yours there in Kansas City, Fan Fest here in Atlanta. I think we just cleared 275,000 in attendance in Centennial Olympic Park. Yeah, it's been bananas. And it just goes to show how the sport is a unifier. And it doesn't matter what the jersey is that you wear. You're put in a pile with somebody. You find out what they like, what makes them tick. They find out what makes you tick. And it's been really cool. We referenced the Morocco-Haiti match that was in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's the blank tank. You know, I know it's Atlanta Stadium and all that kind of stuff. 68-39. It was a sellout, and it was one of the loudest matches, one of the loudest events, sporting events I've been to in that building. It was that off the chart. I don't know how the Haiti fans in the section off to the left of the press box smuggled in a hi-hat. Literally, they had a hi-hat. They got that. They had the XL bongo set. There were like 2 or 3 of those. You had gourds that were in. You had the long. It wasn't vuvuzelas. It was like a legit plastic horn that could actually play deeper notes than the vuvuzela, and it wasn't as annoying. You had about 50 dudes in the section off to the left of the press box playing their own music for the Haiti fans. And then when the rest of the Haiti fans realized that they had a Haiti band playing Haiti songs, you had fans 6 sections over singing the song that the band was playing 6 sections off to their left. And it was loud. I mean, they weren't singing the anthem. They were yelling anthems. And I'm getting chills just talking about it, man. It was one of the hottest crowds that I've ever been a part of. But that's what this is all about.
Yeah, the only game that I've been to in Kansas City so far, because I've been hosting the watch parties in the Power and Light, was Ecuador versus Curacao. That was the cheapest ticket out of all the ones here, and they still had over 68,000 fans in the stands. And I don't know how many. I would guess 45 to 50,000 of them were Ecuador fans dressed in all yellow. There were huge pockets of Curacao fans in the stadium. That's a country that only has 150,000 people in it. And I think at least 10,000 of them were in Kansas City, you know. And in their first ever World Cup, their first ever result, their goalkeeper makes 15 saves. It was a 0-0 draw. And if you try to tell somebody, yeah, I went to this match between Ecuador and Curacao, and it was 0-0, people would be like, oh. No, it was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, I was a little sad because we were surrounded by Ecuador fans that I was making friends with, and they felt like they needed to win that game in order to advance. They were wrong, and I told them that. But they were very disappointed. So when we were walking out of the stadium, it was just kind of quiet. If they had won the game, they would have been singing songs the whole time out. But the game itself was amazing. Ecuador getting their first point, 15 saves, near a World Cup record. It was beautiful. It was great. So that tells you all you need to know right there about how fun this is. I watched a 0-0 draw involving a team that is an absolute, no shot at winning this tournament or anything. And it was a great game, and it was a great atmosphere, and it was wonderful.
And that's what this whole thing is about. I can't thank you enough for hopping on here on a Friday. I know that you're balancing P&L and hosting and taking folks to camp and all this kind of stuff. How's the book doing, by the way?
Yeah, it's let's see here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity here. Late Father's Day, if you missed Father's Day, perfect pitch, how Kansas City became the heart of American soccer and landed the World Cup, available on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's the story of American soccer. and how we've gotten it to this point. And so, yeah, it's doing good, man. People are excited about it. I think the people that were skeptical of the World Cup are starting to, in Kansas City, starting to go, huh? Not everybody. I mean, some people are just going to be against it forever because they're against it. But most people are going, wow, this is really interesting. And now they're starting to go, how did we do this? How did we get this here? And how did America grow as a soccer country into the point where we're at? And so, yeah, if you can get it on Amazon, it's great. Thanks for giving me the chance to pub it, John. And yes, I just dropped my son off at Lego camp. Now I'm going to go pick up my daughter at dive practice. And then I'm going on the Cooligans podcast after that. And then you can hear me on Sirius XM satellite radio from 4 to 7, 5 to 8 Eastern time today as well. So we'll keep it rolling, John.
Yes, sir. When you go up to Nate Bukaty and you want to go up to him, first question you ask is "Jak se máš?" And he sits there and he goes, "I'm busy as you know what, man." That's how. Exactly. Be safe, my friend. Crash anytime. It's great to see you.
Hey, keep it up, guys. I'm seeing stuff in Atlanta. It looks amazing.
All right, there goes Nate Bukaty, and I got to trade my book for his. And so now that Nate Bukaty has given us the update about what's going on in Kansas City, time to get another update. An update on how many cups of coffee Jen Johns has had and how she's holding up and what's going on at Decatur Watchfest. So we bring in Jen. How are you this morning? There it is.
There it is. I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
Running around about as fast as you. And thank you for coming in. How many cups of coffee is that, by the way?
It's the first one.
Wow.
It's the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and we have been incredibly busy, but so impressed with all of the people that have come out and the spirit and the excitement that's around this tournament.
When you were piecing Watchfest together, how far back were the meetings in the hermetically sealed conference rooms about planning and figuring out everything?
We started about 2 years ago. We formed a committee about a year and a half ago, and we launched in May of 2025.
When you think from May of 2025 to here in late June of 2026, I imagine it's been a sprint in some aspects of it, and then it's been it really has been 13 months in some aspects. Does it feel like more than one or the other? Does it feel like it was just yesterday when you launched and now you're in the middle of this thing?
Not right now. It does not feel like it's been just a minute. It's hard to believe, I guess, that it's been a year and a half or 2 years that I've been working on this. But yeah, I mean, every day feels very long right now, but it is so exciting to see everybody. I mean, we have had crowds at Decatur Watchfest that have exceeded our expectations, and really excited about everybody gathering in the new Decatur Square to celebrate soccer together. I mean, while this is an endeavor that has been conceived by the city to be sure and help springboard our business community and our city after a long construction project, and to make sure to help with long-term economic development, I see it as a place where I can share our love of soccer as a community with the broader region.
You mentioned it has exceeded expectations. Do you have any clue on numbers and attendance figures or anything like that?
Well, we are north of 70,000 people having come out. Our footprint is nothing like the city downtown,
right,
or the Fan Fest downtown, which can, I think, sells or gives away, north of 30,000 tickets with an understanding that maybe 15 to XXX number will show. Our footprint is more in the neighborhood of 5,500. And so when we've exceeded that on a couple of occasions, we've been very surprised and very, very pleased. I think we all hoped for that, but excuse me, that's a sneeze that came out of nowhere. But we've been very, very excited about the crowds that come out on any morning, noon, and night at our festival.
Yeah, I didn't know if the numbers, if somebody's keeping track of numbers, or if you know that your space can have X amount of folks that sit there, and two. Usually the boss has about 5 more in any setting. So if you get toward
Go
7,
boss.
I didn't know if you just kind of took it by like surface area or by tickets distributed and going 1 for 1. I didn't know how you came up with your numbers, but when you got 5,500 in that space, I mean, it is wall to wall people, and it is the spoke in the wheel for everything there in Decatur, where it's like, yes, you've got all the soccer going on. Yes, you have great musical acts and entertainment going on, but it also is that economic driver for everything else that's on the outside. It was an absolute no-brainer, I think, for me, but it adds to, I guess, what Decatur can bring in general
100%.
going forward.
100%. And I think this is just the beginning of what Decatur can do with regards to their new stage, with regards to the various processes and systems that we have put in place that are always being refined. We started out with a very big VIP area in the front, and we have shrunk that to make sure that we have general admission, free seating in the front of the venue for all fans. You just have to be early, because those do fill up really early. But like last night, those first to get in the venue were able to get front row seats to the Warren Treaty. But we do have, back to your point about how we're counting numbers, we have Placer AI. Those numbers come in a day 2 or 3 later, and they count all people at peak times and then throughout the day, and that does help us say that we're at 5,500 on at peak capacities, but we've had way more than that on a flow throughout the day. So somebody might, we may have a crowd for the Germany match, then a crowd for the concert, and then a crowd for the USA match. And with a few sprinkled in, and we can also put more than one match on at a time because we have 3 screens. So last night we made sure that since Australia was still trying to figure out second place, that we had the Australia match on on one of the screens as well.
When it comes to logistics and making sure that you've got all of the moving parts to make sure that something like this goes off without a hitch, or at least looks that way, how many moving parts are we talking about here, and manpower and all this kind of stuff? Any clue?
Oh, we have about 500 million moving parts, and we have a really, really great team. With the city of Decatur, we brought in some specialists like Whitney Feigl, who has been leading our operations team. We have, sponsorship folks, we have PR folks, and we've really built a great machine, a great team of folks who have been, we've brought them in at different times. But for example, Whitney joined us in January. He's absolutely been a godsend to this event and has really helped us with crowd control, with bringing in third-party security, working on flow and pinch points, and we had mags, and we had magnetometers and gated fenced footprint last night, and we had one for Big Boy, and we'll have it again for the Indigo Girls. So certain events are really expected to be big, and that we want to make sure that we are complying with our fire marshal to make sure that we keep everybody safe.
Yes, one of the most important people during these kinds of things is the fire marshal. That individual must be kept happy at all times when it comes to doing something like this day after day after day. Jen Johns with there it is, Decatur Watchfest, hanging out with us right here on the morning show here on a Friday. When you're booking these big names, when you're booking events, how much talk goes back and forth? It's like internally to sit there and say, hey, we should have A, B, C, D, or E. We should bring in Paul McCartney, and then you work from there. When it comes to determining your acts and everything, how long are those conversations? How far back do those go? And what's the response been from everybody that's been engaged in the process?
It's been amazing. First of all, the length of time that we started booking Big Boy, Indigo Girls, and the Warren Treaty last year in the summer, and it took us a long time to lock in a couple of them. It was remarkable with this committee sort of all putting our heads together about genres and making sure that we try to appeal to a vast variety of people, some of whom are soccer fans, some of whom are not. And then once we locked in our anchors, we started to look at the schedule. Who's playing when? And we waited until after the draw to book a large, vast variety of the other 31 dates. We have a concert every night. And so Vox Britannia, Her Majesty's Request, Broasis were all three Brit rock bands that we wanted to make sure landed in a logical time and place. So we've already had Vox Britannia. They were amazing. Broasis was a giant sing-along on our square. And we have Her Majesty's Request playing on June 30th. In fact, I booked them first to make sure that they're playing the night before what we hope will be an England match in Atlanta. So we are paying attention to the genres. We were very sad that our COT band was on a date that we had to close our venue because of the weather.
Yeah.
So we are really trying to line up some of our musical acts. Rusbe, a flamenco guitarist, played on a day that we had Spanish flavor, and we've really tried to add in bits and pieces. We had a capoeira dance troupe that performed on the last Brazil match. So we're trying to make sure that some of our entertainment seems logical, and people have come up to us to say, you really thought this through, because I see that there's some connection here.
So let's see, you're halfway through, you're at about 75,000 in attendance. What have you learned in tournament about putting something together like this?
Well, there's been a few things. We're trying to make sure that we're, especially during this phase of the group stage where multiple matches are happening at the same time, we're making sure that we're using our multiple screens as much as we can.
Right.
We don't want to have a large gap between a match and a musical act if we can help it.
Yep.
That's one thing that we've learned, where we might have said, well, we can't show that match in its entirety because we have a band that needs to fit into the schedule so that we can close at a specific time on the specific day. We've realized that we can play a match in the front. We can put a band on the stage, but we can have two screens in the back for those who are there for various matches. So during Broasis, I believe it was, we had Broasis on the stage, but we had so the France match was delayed for rain.
Yes.
Is that
the second half for 2 hours. Yeah.
Exactly. So we saw that was happening, and then we also were planning to show the later match. So we had Broasis on the stage, the end of the France match on the third screen, and then the second screen was the normally scheduled match that came off and wasn't weather delayed. We were very worried it would be weather delayed. We would only be able to show part of it. So we have been. I think the lessons learned is that we need to be adaptable. We need to be flexible. And as we move into this knockout round, where the matches will probably extend on with extra time, we'll have to remain flexible.
Do I want to know how many versions of your Excel spreadsheet you've gone through?
It's constantly evolving. I've just been, in the extra time before I was scheduled to join you, I was just adding round of 32 teams to that spreadsheet so that it's a live document so everyone can see what we know today. But I'm looking forward to the next couple of days to be able to fill in the round of 32 boxes so we can see who's playing when, so we can prepare for our fans.
So
Our fans, the fans
yes.
of these teams to
Yeah.
join us.
Yes. So what is happening this weekend that folks need to know about? And it's very easily accessible on the MARTA line. All you got to do is hop on. You get off at Decatur MARTA station and you walk out the door and poof, there are signs and it's real easy to get to. What's happening this weekend, folks need to know?
Well, tonight, obviously, we have many matches. Obviously, beginning with Norway, France, and I'll be interested to see how deep that lineup is. The roster is for France because I'm sure we won't see everyone since they've all qualified. But I can't wait to see who gets some time. I'm excited about Uruguay, Spain, and Cape Verde to see if your favorite can advance through to the next round. That would be amazing. And we have a band tonight called Guru Fish, which has been around a long time, but they are a funk band. And I am so excited about the bass line for this band. I've heard them before. They've got horns. They've got, anyway, it's going to be an amazing act. Saturday, DJ Superior is coming to play between a variety of matches, but looking forward to those matches as well to see how England finishes out of this group, how Panama does, what's happening on a number of different fronts there. On Sunday, obviously we have, I think it's Canada that is
Canada,
playing.
Canada, South Africa is the first one of the round of 32. Yes.
And then, but Wolves Lower is our band on Sunday. They are an REM cover band, and a lot of long-term performing musicians have come together to form this band. They play in lots of other bands, but we booked the Wolves Lower REM cover band, which on the heels of having Peter Buck on our stage, is going to be sort of a nice continuity line through what was happening. By the way, that was a surprise. It was an amazing day.
Yeah.
And then we have a young band called Calico that's playing on Monday, out of Virginia Highlands area that is really up and coming. So that's coming up on Monday. So lots of things are happening, but really excited about June 30th, regardless of who's playing on the first. In the morning or in the middle day match, we will have Her Majesty's Request playing the night on the 30th.
Decatur Watchfest 26.com is the website.
Correct.
You can keep up with everything and then follow them on all of the social medias. And Jen, I can't thank you enough for coming in here at the halfway point and talking about everything at Watchfest. It's been fun to see just how that has turned into this magnet for fans.
It really has.
Regardless of where their allegiances are. It's been fun to see where it's going. We'll bookmark this conversation, and then when the tournament is over, come back and revisit, and then we can sit there and talk about what we talked about this time and have larger numbers to talk about and a lot of folks and all of the things. I can't thank you enough for coming in on short rest.
Well, thank you for having us. And honestly, I look forward to seeing you in Decatur. I know you live nearby, so we'll get to see you soon.
Yeah, so Watchfest is that way for me.
That's fantastic. It's that way for me.
Yeah, so it's that way for me to get to Watchfest, and it's been great to see everything go on and see how just crowded and amazing that it is there in the city center. I can't thank you enough. Go finish your first cup of coffee. How late are you up tonight?
Ooh, that's a really good question. How late are we up tonight? We will probably close at 10:30, so maybe by 11:30.
Okay, all right.
No problem.
All right.
The later matches our pubs and restaurants are covering. So a lot of our pubs and restaurants are called watch spots, and they will have all of the matches on into the wee hours.
Yep, and they will certainly do that. A lot of folks. Jen,
thanks so much.
Go finish your cup of coffee. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
Thanks, you. Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye. All right, it is the top of hour number 3. And after what happened yesterday, I got a message that, hey, I got to talk about this. And what happened? So that means, of course, we bring in our buddy, Nino Torres, to talk about Ecuador. And
Yes, sir.
we're fully loaded on a Friday, but I want to play something for you before we get into the conversation.
Uh-huh.
And this is post-match with our friend Grandmaster Bekasese.
Oh.
He's post-match, and he's talking about rock and roll and what happened on the field yesterday. So this is post-match with Sebastian Bekasese, and he goes on a couple of different topics, but here he is after the match.
La verdad que el rock nacional en estos días me ayudó muchísimo porque tiene frases muy potentes, cualquier artista. Y en el Ángel de la Soledad siempre dice no escucha lo que oye, va para adelante. Se prende fuego y siente. Y bueno, va de eso la vida, ¿no? De saber también que la vida te regala estos momentos donde puedes compartir con tus hijas, con tu señora, con tus hermanos, con tu mamá, con los amigos. Falta el viejo, que estará gritando arriba, ¿no? Hay que celebrar esos momentos. Imagino un pueblo ecuatoriano de 19 millones de personas celebrando y abrazándose, tomándose una buena cerveza y celebrando una victoria histórica. Así que la verdad que muy agradecido también a la cultura del rock, porque esa energía de combate, ¿no? Que se genera ahí, a mí me da mucha fuerza.
So part of this, he says, the angel of solitude doesn't listen to what it hears, it pushes forward. It sets itself ablaze and feels. The old man who'll be shouting from up there is missing. So he references
my old man. He's old man.
My old man. So and he references rock and roll and Indio Solari in this. So what was he talking about here?
It's the Argentine rock and roll. It's very touchy. They have the lyrics that they have. They're so powerful. They're so deep. And then there's a group, Soda Stereo, that it has also a lot of meaning for me and for guys from my generation. And it's you don't know about these things, right? But you do know that the players they play their music. They got the headphones on way before they got the radio, carrying the radio, and music. It's just an inspiration for athletes and for coaches too. And it's just great. I didn't know that because I said his father, and I don't know when that happened. I didn't know that. Lyrics, his father, Indio Solari. It's just a great connection. The aura, the aura that we talk about so much these days. That's it. That's the perfect explanation of an aura. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I wanted to play that with you coming in to discuss what was going on yesterday. And before that was to start our day, I found the Alfonso Lassa call of the game winner. And so this is I played it in the A block. I'm gonna play it here for you. This is from Radio La Red. Alfonso Lassa calling the game winner. This is how it went down yesterday.
Aquí viene otra vez Pedro Vite, nuevamente Ecuador en el área de Alemania y va a venir Pedro, ahí está Moisés, 5 tricolores en el área chica directamente de los alemanes, va a meter la pelota Pedro Vite, ¡gol! Ecuador, qué injusto que estaba haciendo el mundial, qué duro que estaba haciendo, no se lo merecían estos chicos. Y llega entonces Gonzalo, 2-1. Gana Ecuador, que quiere seguir, que quiere jugar, que quiere clasificar en el Mundial.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And
you're gonna tell me that you rather have your team, your club, winning the Copa Libertadores than your national team winning the World Cup? Get out of here, brother. That conversation is absolutely over. I don't want to hear it again. The next time somebody comes up with that, I want to punch you in the face, man. I'm telling you, brother, because this is just this. Look at this, man. That feeling, that unites the entire country. The entire country is rooting for you, and you feel that in that call, man. Oh my God, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I got something. I got a little story for you. It's just a quick story, Johnny. I was doing deliveries yesterday. I was flying back and forth because I didn't want to miss the game, right? And I was just, I was going to one of my clients to drop off the cakes, and the way back, stop on the on the light, and I looked to the right, man. It was the Ecuadorian embassy. And the flag was right up there saying hi to me, brother. I was like, okay, this is not a coincidence. This is just a signal, brother. Ecuador is going to make it. And I kept it for myself. This is a signal. It's just like, no way that this is, I never go that route. I never go that route. And then this day, it happened. It's just, it's destiny, brother. It's destiny. And do you believe in signs, Johnny, by the way? Do you? Do you believe in signs?
Absolutely, I do. Oh, yeah, absolutely, I do.
It's just, this thing happened, that thing happened. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Something's going on here.
No, I can hear you. You're good. I got you.
All right. I just
yeah.
Deep breath, man. Deep breath, because this is, there are two goals. There are two goals in the history of my World Cup history that goes back to 1982. I've been watching World Cup since 1982. The 1978, I just don't recall. I was way too young. But since 1982, there's a Peruvian national team that I really lost my mind. The one and both against Germany. It was the Freddy Rincon goal to tie the match for Colombia in the 95th minute, I think it was, to tie the game and to get Colombia into the knockout stage. They were about to lose the game. They were about to lose their chances. They were about to be ousted of the World Cup by, of course, the actual winner of that World Cup in 1990, and this one from Joao Plata.
Wow.
These are the two goals and the two games that really, I felt Colombian at one point, and I felt Ecuadorian yesterday at one point in the game, man. It's just insane, man. Insane.
Yep, and Becca Sese, understandably, runs into the crowd. He on the match is over, runs up, goes off of the safety boards, goes up, and he finds his family. And just that moment too, considering what happened after match day 2, and we played that full 3 minutes where he was trying to make sure that the Ecuadorian fans would exhibit patience and understand the process, and that everything was, happening a certain way for a reason. We played that full 3 minutes from the press conference where he was imploring for patience. And you end up with a moment like they had yesterday against Germany, and you saw what it meant.
Because Ecuador was doing everything right. It's not that the Ecuador was playing bad. No. They were just missing the final touch. That's all they needed. Somebody to put the ball in the back of the net, and it wasn't a striker. Just remember that. It wasn't a striker. It wasn't Kacey. It wasn't Rodriguez. It wasn't Eder Valencia. It was Nilson Angulo. By the way, that kid is that price tag for that guy is gonna go way up after this World Cup. And of course, Gonzalo Plata, the the moment that everybody in Ecuador was waiting for Gonzalo Plata, because Gonzalo Plata played the massive qualifiers for Ecuador, massive, right? But there was always something missing in the big games from Gonzalo, and this just shut everybody up, and as well as Becasese, of course, because you have no idea. The media in Ecuador, they were trashing Becasese before the game. They were just like, is his contract up yet? Is he up tomorrow? Is he going to leave the day after? Is he going to leave right in the same night that he loses to Germany? Huh? He's going to leave, right? Everybody was thinking that he was going to go. He probably will end up finishing his contract after the World Cup anyway. But who knows? Who knows how deep they go into the competition, Johnny? It's just you don't know. You don't know. I'm saying that I totally see Ecuador going into the quarterfinals in this World Cup, depending on who they're playing. If they go, who's number one from
England, brother.
Oh crap!
And you know what? That match would be here. Noon Eastern, July 1st.
Ooh. Oh, man.
And and the fact that we have covered Becasese since Defensa y Justicia version 1, the fact that we've had him, that we've covered them, and we've loved what his work rate has been and what he's been able to accomplish with not a lot from that first go round at Defensa y Justicia. If Ecuador and England happens for July 1st, if you can find a way to get to the MD-1 presser, if you can find a way to hear it in its entirety, we are trying to figure out a way so Jason can ask a sicko question to Sebastian Becasese, considering our backstory of following him as far back as we do. That is on our bucket list for this World Cup. If Ecuador England happens and it's here in Atlanta, we're trying to get an English question from Jason to Sebastian Becasese to have him get on his heels and have the Ecuadorian media sit there and go, bro, where did that come from?
Yeah. Hey, hold on a second now. And Johnny, I know I asked you to jump in for about Ecuador, but I just got a message. When was that? Like half an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a buddy of mine in Uruguay, one of the members.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that before you came on. Yes, sir.
You had that one. You had it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the absolute drama. This is just ridiculous what happens with Bielsa, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That locker room is lost. It's broken, and there's no way to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no way to fix it. No way. When they already crossed the line, they already. They're filing the divorce papers already.
Yeah,
they're already filed. They're just waiting for the signature. Just let me know when you want to sign.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll sign it, because we're not going to play your way. We're going to play our way. We're tired of you. We're tired of your system. And God, only God knows what's going to happen tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't predict any positive outcome for Uruguay when you got that atmosphere. It's just. And then Bielsa saying, I only call these few guys that they're also injured because they're loyal to me.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
And now you've been trying to sack me. It's a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hot mess. And every World Cup, something like this happened with one team.
Well, but we've had it with Tunisia and La Bruges, where
right. But I'm talking about big. I'm not talking about big teams. I'm talking about France in 2010. I'm talking about those kind of moments, and I'm also talking about Bielsa in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bielsa in 2002, he was a hot mess too.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is just way too intense. That's why they play good when in the qualifiers, because they only see him for 4 or 5 days. But when it goes longer than that, longer than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks with that guy, no, the people gets just tired of the guy. They just get tired.
He's like the guy in college where you got your college apartment, and he's the guy that just kind of comes over and he eats all your snacks and he eats them on the sofa, but he doesn't clean up after himself, and so you end up with the Cheetos film on the handrails, and Doritos stuffed between the cushions because the guy can't get it into it. He can't get it into his mouth. He's the one that will sit there and he'll try and eat the pizza, and he'll eat the box from the table. And it's like, you kind of need him because he's getting all A's, and you need his feedback for getting the test so you can pass the course. But he drives you crazy because of his eating habits.
It's insane. Now that you mentioned college, Johnny, you see me wearing a shirt today, right? I'm all t-shirts and sweaters, right? But now I just mentioned college. I'm going in like the next 10 minutes. I'm going to leave because I got an invitation from the journalism school, one of the most important ones in the country. They asked me to do a conference for them about the World Cup, the coverages, and everything. So they're gonna send me a cap, I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm gonna be there by 11? Yeah, then 45 minutes. So I gotta be there. So
wow, then stop talking.
Really cool, man.
Go scare some kids, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It was like, where's this guy from? It happens that one of my buddies, he just released a book, and they ask, hey, do you know anybody? We need a sports journalist for this event. Do you know somebody? Yeah, I know somebody. And they call me. So it was great.
Fantastic. I know that you wanted to crash, and I know you got to go scare some kids about this industry. But as always, that you're not just stuck to the fully loaded Thursdays. Good to have you for a fully loaded abbreviated on the Friday. Go enjoy the lecture. Tell them what it's all about, and we will catch up with you when you want to come in and crash, my friend. It's always great to see you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
There he goes. Nino Torres, Lima, Peru, wanting to talk about Ecuador and Grandmaster Becca Sexe. But yes, if England and Ecuador is here July 1st for us is shaping up to be chaos, because England and Ecuador would be here in Atlanta at noon Eastern, which means that my morning show would be from 8 to 9:30, and I sprint into town. Then the U.S. would be playing that evening in, I think, Santa Clara against Bosnia and Herzegovina. So literally it would be noon here, 8 with the United States. That's all July 1st. So our July 1st will be crazy. Keep an eye on that as we go. A couple of notes. Ben Jacobs, Marco Palestra formalizing his Chelsea move, a 6+1 fee in excess of €50 million, and that's budgeted out across the deal. So it's 8 and 8.33 a year for 6 years. That's how it's budgeted with their salary numbers for FFP. Minnesota United has signed Devin Padelford to a contract extension. And it is the NWSL Challenge Cup kicking off in Columbus. That is the first competitive match for the league since May 31st. Kansas City is looking for a revenge against Gotham. And Loa Labonta said that this kind of brings it back a little more to the playoffs. So absolutely, we want to get this win. Challenge Cup marks Columbus's first ever NWSL game 2 months after they landed the 2028 expansion team. So you've got that to look into as well. Thanks again to Bernd Peterson and everybody at WSB yesterday for letting us come and crash the party there. It was great. I'm still going to go here. I still got a couple of other things to talk about here before we get out of here on a Friday. But remember, we'll go over juice boxes too, now that I'm thinking about it. It is, days like today toward the end of the week where literally I don't know what's going to happen. You invite folks and you hope that they might show up for a couple of minutes. The fact that we were able to catch up with Bart, because I know that Bart wanted to catch up on Canada since he mentioned that in the Twitch pitch after the Canada all the Canada furor about finishing second and still wanting to host. And I know that Bart went into it with venues and such and trying to juggle all of that. You had Canada and their venues. Canada, the biggest thing is just like win your group. Win your group. Take care of business against Switzerland, and then we won't be having these discussions about, well, you finished second and you still think as a host you should be playing in home venues. For me, the bottom line is, look, you gotta win your matches. And we got into that with Bart Keeler from the SoccerForUSPod. Joe Freihofer joined us live from Guadalajara in the hotel. His day was off and running, and it's 7. He joined us at 7:30 local time, so the Hoff gets major props for that. And it was great to catch up with him before he heads back after the match tonight, heads to the airport tomorrow, and gets back here to be a part of things with Atlanta United and getting ready for that. The MLS Next All-Star game has been announced, and so we'll know what's going to be happening there. A couple of names for Atlanta United that we've got to mention before we get out of here that have been attached to the MLS All-Star game. That's going to be in a month in suburban Charlotte over at Matthews, where Crown Legacy plays. Reminder once again that you have Atlanta United 2 taking on Crown Legacy this weekend in MLS Next Pro. That is tomorrow, and that is in Athens, but because of all of our commitments, we are going to be in Atlanta Stadium. So we'll keep you posted on the Twos game at the same time that Uzbekistan is playing DR Congo, but we will not have a live broadcast of the Twos because of the 7 o'clock start time in Athens and the 7:30 start time in the match day last involving Uzbekistan and DR Congo in basically the loser leave town match for that particular group that we have here in Atlanta on the last match day of the group stage. So we've got that to get into as well here on match day 16 is today. Match day 17 is tomorrow, and a lot of stuff going on in match day 16, match day 17, and a lot to talk about for match day 15, frankly. But tomorrow, we're going to be back at it again, 9:05. It'll be SDH AM Saturday, as we're doing here during the World Cup, and we are letting you know what's going on 7 days a week. We'll be on at 9:05. We're efforting a guest at 9:30 on Saturday morning, so we'll let you know what's going on there. Okay, let's see. Where are we before we get out of here? I'm trying to think if there's anything that I might have missed. Got all the transfer news done, so that was taken care of. Then let's tour the papers really quickly and see if we missed anything here. Let's see. I mentioned Elliot Anderson and his jersey. Newcastle has been hit with a demand for £3.2 million over a deliberate failure to pay tax on transfers. Rob Davey at The Guardian. The club owe Her Majesty's Royalty, his Majesty's Royalty and Customs, $1.9 million in tax and $1.25 million penalty. Investigation of transfers under Mike Ashley. They've been owned by the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund since 2021. Bill emerged as a result of the tax authority's regular publication of a league table of deliberate tax defaulters. And this goes back to The Guardian understands the find linked to a tax investigation, Operation Loom, in which officers from then Her Majesty's Royalty and Customs raided St. James Park in 2017. So it goes back to time between 2010 and 2016. 2017 was when the number came out. And so now 9 years later, Newcastle's hit for a demand for £3.2 million for a failure to pay tax on transfers. I wonder if the PIF is going to sit there and go, that's Mike Ashley's problem, that ain't ours. That is going to be intriguing to see how that one plays out. Club World Cup's likely to expand for 2029 with more Premier League clubs involved. Keep an eye on that. And it will be that's going to be interesting as that continues to go forward. Ronaldinho has signed for a Syracuse Ravenna at the age of 46. Can't wait to see that happen. So we'll see what goes there with him at the age of 46. Let me get into the Twitch pitch and say hi to everybody this morning. Abby's in there. Katie Weaver's in there. Yes, Canada Day. So, that's right, July 1st. Plan accordingly. Morning, David. And Abby, I'm kind of like you. I want all of the underdogs to do well, and she's got tickets for the final. Good for you. Katie Weaver hit up the end of the England-Ghana match before Decatur FC. Great setup. Tents, kids, restos on the square, misting trucks. Yes, absolutely true. Yes, Katie Weaver, Abby in this morning. Saw David was in this morning. Ropes, and hopefully we got into the rumors that we were there this morning as well, addressing anything and everything going on, possibly with Atlanta United. So trying to see. New numbers from Patrick Quinn, and Patrick Quinn's over at Channel 46. MARTA had their largest World Cup ridership of the tournament yesterday. 220,000 rides, 127,000 tied specifically to the game in Atlanta, so 2 days ago. So largest World Cup ridership of the tournament 2 days ago for Morocco and Haiti. 220,000, 127,000 tied specifically to the game and accessory events. Double MARTA's average. 220,000 match day number 4. They're usually getting about 100,000 to 120,000 for FanFest days. 190,000 match day 2, 180,000 match day 1, 160,000 match day 3, 220,000 associated rides for MARTA on match day 4. So that was pretty cool. And I think it's going to do it for us. I think we got everything done. I'm checking my list. I'm trying to see if I've missed any kind of conversations or missed any kind of talking points. But if you would, please, get the morning espresso. It's the morning newsletter that gets you everything. That's our morning paper. Go to soccerdownhere.net, scroll down. There's a box. Subscribe, put in your email address. Bang, you get everything in the morning paper from us that Jason pieces together that you need to know about before you lead in here to talk about everything on the AM. And then before Jason takes over for AST, Atlanta Soccer Tonight. Let me get your start time for AST and let you know where it is going to be housed. I think it's at 10 to midnight tonight. I think it is. And once again, thanks to our friends at Oglethorpe University for letting us, being great partners with us here when it comes to everything involving Morning Espresso. It is 10 o'clock. 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel. And once again, 10 to 11, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app and YouTube. Stoppage time, 11 o'clock, rolls over there. And it's going to be on the 92.9 The Game YouTube channel. And you're going to go over brackets, third places, USMNT, stoppage time after that. And then it was very, very cool to once again have our friends from WSB and Bernd Peterson come by and tell a bit of SDH's story yesterday. So we'll let you go and get that as well. You can go into Morning Espresso and you can find the link, or go to WSBTV.com, get the link, and you get to find out how busy we are and what it looks like when I pull out the bank calendar. And keep an eye on Jason's face. WSBTV.com, and the article is there. And thanks to Bert Peterson and Eb and everybody over there at Channel 2 for helping us tell our story a little bit here at the halfway point of the World Cup. All right, bottom of the hour. And that means that one thing and one thing only, since it is the end of the show and the end of a Monday through Friday, since we'll be back tomorrow, that means we get to do this. Mucho platial, play it safe. Back at it again tonight with Atlanta Soccer Tonight. And then back at it again here, 9:05 tomorrow morning for SDH AM Saturday. So since it is the end of the show, that means one thing. We get to exit one way and one way only, and it's like this. See you in a bit, everybody.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours because it's Friday.